Welcome to episode 47 of the Chi-Town Shoot Wrestling Podcast. I'm Marcin, and joining me in the squared circle are Chris, David, and Andres. We're coming at you from the heart of the wrestling world, Chicago, Illinois, bringing the latest news, hottest takes, and all things WWE and AEW. Questions or thoughts, send them over to chitownshootpodcast@gmail.com. Without further ado, welcome back. I think it's been like a month now since our last recording. I think we recorded like the week of October 3rd, October 5th, something like that. Man. We ranked our spookiest wrestlers. If you haven't caught that, feel free to jump over to our YouTube channel and check it out. Thanks to Chris, David, Andres for helping in the meantime, in between, while I was in Japan for a good 2 weeks. I think I flew back. Must have been the 26th, so I got back around the 27th, and then we all hung out at Chris's for a Halloween party. Chris, you were who? Mulder?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you were
Spooky Mulder. I should have put on like skull paint or something.
You should have. I think I also had like an alien for like a shoulder alien. You were missing like the alien part, so
The alien was the alien.
No, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. I totally forgot what she was like a couple of days after when I was like talking about the party. I was like, what was she? I don't remember. Yeah, she was a alien. But it's good to see all you guys. I'm happy to be back home. Good to be back in the US of A.
Greatest
Chris, what's
country in the world?
Yes, it is. Chris, what's been new with you in the past month? What have we missed?
Jeez, past month.
Well, give me something just that pops in your head. that's maybe recent.
Predator Badlands just today.
What'd you think?
It was great. I honestly would see it again. That's how good it is.
Nice. Is that why when you told the parents that you were cleaning the house, you actually meant you were?
No, I legitimately was.
Predator?
We were like taking down all the Halloween stuff today too, from like the front lawn and on the inside, and that was just a whole slog.
Oh, nice.
And it was like snowing, cold as hell. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
Ellie Fanning, aka Lou. Spoiler alert. Oops.
Oh my God, what are you doing, man? Death Stranding hasn't been out for even a whole year. We can edit that shit out. But yes, she's in Death Stranding. She's in Death Stranding. Yeah, I think you're gonna need to add that in there. David, post edit.
It's a secret.
Yeah,
that's good. That'll make people tune in.
Yeah, giving David extra work too, though, making it harder. At least it's right at the beginning,
cool.
So
It's a secret.
Yeah.
Anytime that I have to put one of those in, it's all right.
Yeah.
Exempt.
So we always get the Simpsons references.
Yes. Well, David, what's new with you? Speaking of
Simpsons Fortnite.
Simpsons Fortnite. Yeah, I think that's something that we want to play in the coming weeks. You said it's like through November?
Yeah.
The 28th or something.
Why is it limited? Do they always do that where it's limited and then it just goes away?
Now they're like rotating like special maps.
Man, that needs to be like a permanent one.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's like so much effort put into it. Just be like, oh, it's here for like a couple of weeks, and then we're gonna yeet it out. You know, like I feel like I'd make it a permanent fixture, like a map you can just pick. But I haven't played Fortnite since like, since like Mark probably played in like 2016 or 2017 when I was like, oh, what is this Fortnite? And then it basically had a chokehold on the youth and has basically been around for like a decade at this point. Still raking in all the cash, but
more.
Yeah,
you can buy Jordans in Fortnite now. I was like, holy hell!
What?
Yeah, dude.
Do you also have to pay like $200 for them for digital Jordan?
10, but close enough.
Digital equivalent. That's pretty cool though. I do want to play that. You guys, if you guys are watching this or listening to this, we might already have been streaming Simpsons Fortnite for Monday Night Raw for the upcoming streams, but we may continue to do so. But Andres, what's been new with you? It's been a while.
The other brown guy. Simpsons Fortnite. I actually also played it a little bit. Actually, it was actually highly impressive. I never really got into Fortnite till recently, and I actually kind of hate how much I like it. It's actually a lot of fun. It's just simple, It's just a simple concept, and then throwing in like all these IPs and stuff. It just makes it like way more enjoyable. But when the Simpsons one came out, I was really inclined to checking it out, and like I know a lot of people like around my age and younger, like they just went back to Fortnite just for the Simpsons event, and everyone loved it. It's really good.
I was
Actually,
gonna
I like
say,
it a lot.
we got to rename our podcast Two White Dudes, Two Brown Dudes.
Who all love The Simpsons.
Yeah,
Like,
This
that was
is
like
wrestling.
like that was like the first time like I felt like, oh, this is interesting. Like, cause I loved Simpsons Hit and Run, and then the actual. Did you guys play the Simpsons movie game
I did
when it
on
came
a
out?
DS.
That one was actually really good too, and I think it was underrated. I think we might have rented it at Blockbuster.
Which one had the
if I'm not
body
mistaken.
physics when they would like fly? Was that Hit and Run?
Maybe
They
like
tense up.
Crazy
They would
Taxi.
and they like
Yeah.
fly.
Yeah,
100 feet.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was yearning for like another cool like Simpsons game, and I mean this isn't a full game, but it seems intricate enough where I'd be like stepping back, wanting to step into the Simpsons world again. Simpsons Tapped Out, I think, is no longer available, so
Where
this
we
will be a
drop
nice
in
substitute.
twins.
Yeah, where we drop in, I guess we'll see.
The plant.
Yeah.
Nuclear plant.
Nuclear plant. Yeah, it's actually really good. Like how they did the map. Like the locations are very like you'll like the ones you've seen in the background are actually like there. Like you're running through it. It's like
Like the
Simpsons
Quickie
neighborhood is there.
The Quickie Mart is literally what like you seen in the show. Like that's in
Basically.
that exact order. Like
The Simpsons house.
squishy
Yeah.
machines right behind Apu. Like
So I guess I don't want to turn this
Shoot
into
out
like a
at the Quickie
Fortnite segment, but like, can you like pick up objects and items, or is it just like it's the environment and then you whatever you have on you, like I don't know, guns or lasers or whatever the fuck they
there's Simpsons themed weapons and then like even you take a free hit if you knock off Jebediah Springfield's head, and you can wear
nice.
it. Yeah,
That's
you wear it.
There's also evil Homer running around too. There's like
Yeah.
certain characters that'll be on the map. And you fight them too, and they'll give you something for like winning.
Yeah,
You
you can
still have to build like bridges and
You can
shit.
play
Is that
none.
the mechanic.
you can
That's a
play no
certain
build.
mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do no build mode. That's what I usually do. It's just like a free for all.
I'm grinding the battle pass for Sexy Flanders.
Nice.
Yeah, I
And
saw that.
yeah.
So if you obtain the characters, you can keep them, right? Even
Yeah, you
past the
forever.
Damn, I want to know the accounts that have like every single like crazy
You got
character that
Ryu
they put
in
in
the
for
Simpsons
limited.
map.
That's got to be worth
Mm.
like thousands of dollars for sure.
It's like, oh, where are we landing? Or it's like, oh, damn, there's a squad of Bart, Travis Scott, Cody Rhodes,
Cody
Like,
Rhodes, Lady
basically,
Gaga,
and Master Chief. And so
Master
we're,
Chief.
so we're fucked.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
to
it's
explain
pretty
how Fortnite
ridiculous.
can be, and this is actually wrestling related, was one of the first games I played. There was like basically how David described like just every different character of every different like IP like shooting in the streets, and then a lot of them were dead by this point. But a plane came in and like crashed and like just took out like the two last people there, and I was like watching. I didn't even engage. I was from a distance away. The person driving the plane was actually John Cena. He came out and collected like everyone's loot, jumped back in and flew away, and I was like, oh my god, dude.
Did he emote on you? He's like,
No, I was watching. I didn't even engage. I didn't want him to know I was even there, to be honest. There you go.
Cody.
It's
Is
Cody.
Cody Rhodes still available or no? Was he
They switch
also
him out.
temporary?
They usually are temporary, but they come back later. I believe.
Damn.
Yeah.
As if I need another thing to put my money towards. But I definitely want to check it out. Well, I mean, we've been talking about Fortnite, but I think in terms of the entire month of October and November, there's been a lot of wrestling since the last time we talked. Lots of wrestling coming up, and probably already happened when this thing publishes. We had AEW Blood and Guts, which is taking place this Wednesday. Both the women and men have some matches that I actually want to see live. It's on HBO Max, right? And then Full Gear's in 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, the 22nd.
Yep.
And lots of matches already announced. They also announced, and some people thought it was a joke when they announced it, a new belt that's gonna show up in AEW, and it is the National Championship. So November 5th, Tony Khan in a backstage segment. So he announced the revival of the AEW, or of the National Championship. And I'll get into this a little bit later. I'll do a little bit of background first, but basically it's supposed to follow the NWA lineage, or he thinks it should. And the inaugural champion will be crowned at Full Gear in a casino gauntlet match. There have been a number of people who threw their hat in the ring, and on a Collision, Speedball and his partner both said they want to take part in the National Championship casino gauntlet match. Tony Khan said that this will be a traveling title, so kind of like the old NWA television title. And he said it'll be defended all over the country and the world and across multiple promotions. Specifically, he named, I think, New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong and Ring of Honor, probably CMLL. And it is supposed to be inspired by the NWA National Heavyweight Championship from Georgia Championship Wrestling. And the controversy is that there is an NWA that currently exists. It's owned by Billy Corgan, who's actually upset because the NWA has their own championship. They have a national championship, and it is currently held by a former Spirit Squad member. Is his name Mikey Mondo? I forgot what his name is specifically in NWA, but
Mikey,
there's a national championship.
Mike Mondo.
Mike Mondo, thank you. I think I was just using the Spirit Squad name.
Mikey.
Yeah, Mikey. So there's a new belt showing up in AEW, and again, this isn't like a new thing that people have complained about before, and I think WWE is also having a bit of that problem, like with the Speed title that still exists, even though I think their X partnership has ended. They're still using the Speed Championship on NXT, so there isn't a shortage of conversation about too many belts, but in terms of this news story. It's a new championship. I mean, David, what do you think? When you heard that they announced this on Dynamite, what did you think? Your initial thoughts?
My first thought was kind of like, I don't want to say why, but it was like you just unified two titles. Yeah, but cool with me. Cool with me, long run. Short term, that was my initial thought. It was just like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they just unified the international and the continental championship at All In Texas, and that belt still exists. And apparently, I mean, the belt is still it's a unified championship, but the lineage of both are still there.
Yeah, it's like when the fuse wears off, it's over with, like Go Tanks.
Right. So and then wasn't the international championship supposed to be what the current national championship is supposed to be doing?
I think also, in essence, because it was also the All Atlantic, right, Chris? Something like that?
Yeah.
Atlantic?
Yep. Transatlantic or something. It was something like that.
Atlantic.
All Atlantic.
Yeah, so it's just an interesting thing. I mean, I'm sure folks who are listening have read this on X and Reddit and all that kind of stuff. I mean, the logic for me doesn't make too much sense. because of that. And maybe in Tony Khan's mind, he tried to find a way to have a belt like that could be defended in multiple promotions and maybe actually be moved around. And he didn't want like Okada to drop the belt to like some kind of promotion. And this is his way of like working backwards from that conclusion and then just adding another title, I guess. But
Who knows?
who knows? Who knows? I mean, like I'm just trying to fit a peg in a square hole.
I'm guessing like he's gonna treat the Okada belt and the Hangman belt as a like the world heavyweight and the WWE championship is as far as like prestige, and then this international, is it? What's it called?
The new one's the National, which also like, as a name doesn't make sense, because if it's supposed to be defended around the globe and you called it the National Championship, it's international. Like you're not only defending it in the United States or North America.
Yeah,
like that doesn't even make sense. So
and now they have the national and international,
right? And you have an international belt still.
and the continental.
And a continental, right? I mean, Chris, what you finish your thoughts? Sorry,
I was gonna say it's gonna be probably like likened to like a secondary belt, like an IC belt or a United States belt. But I'm guessing I bet you they'll just scrap the idea of the undisputed, continental and international belt. Like it'll just be whatever they're calling that second belt now, the Okada belt.
Isn't it just like unified champion?
Yeah, the unified.
Yeah, maybe they'll give it like a new name. Like that's a possibility.
The ununified.
The ununified.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the conundrum I feel like you have, because you have the world title belt, you have the unified title, which is now it's like an upper card like Okada belt. You have the TNT title, which is like the workhorse belt. So I guess I don't know where the national title would really fit in this. And it's not the only belts that are like show up on AEW television. You also have all the Ring of Honor belts that show up.
I would have just brought up one of those.
So
But let those guys get TV time.
Right. So I mean, another belt. I mean, Andres, let me ask you this. Do you think there's such a thing as too many belts? And do you have a limit of like, what answer the first question. Do you think there's too many belts? And then in your ideal promotion, like how many belts would you have if you were booking?
Well, off the bat, I did think already like AEW kind of had a belt problem. Like, I think they were kind of already like populating them. But then with this one and then hearing the concept they're trying to go with, I'm like, oh, I guess that kind of cool. But then, like, to your point earlier, I'm like, wait, don't they have these other belts already as well that have like these names? So
they do.
I don't know. I'm just more curious to see like how it's going to develop over time with how they're going to go about it, and like maybe they'll dissolve one of the other ones going forward. But to have too many belts, I mean, or as how many belts would I have?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Growing up in wrestling, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was always simpler because you had like the main belts, then you had like the secondary like intercontinental title, or maybe in WCW terms it was a TV title. Or did they have one intercontinental? I can't remember.
Yeah, US.
The US. Okay. To me, like I think it was like 5 belts was like the main number. You had like your main, your secondary, then you're like your cruiserweights, you had the women's, and then you had the tag. But I know now we're like way beyond those days, and now we have bigger rosters and stuff and more shows and stuff. So that to me would probably be like the simpler route. But nowadays, that's not really ideal.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like WWE also has had like I think it's currently teetering on a lot of belts. Now the logic is that they have an actual like split roster to some degree, even though there's a lot of still like wrestlers jumping back and forth for like storylines, or like we're going to talk about the John Cena tournament, some cross brand tournament matches that are appearing on both Raw and SmackDown. But like they're technically 2 separate rosters. But again, like for me personally, like the tag belts, I feel like should be unified again in WWE. And like, I think my classic like belt amount is like main belt for men and women, mid-card belt, men and women, tags. And I think that's where I would end it there. and not every match needs a belt to have a feud. Like I feel like if you have a good enough story, I mean, there are plenty of stories that have existed that don't need a belt, to be invested in, right? So I think that'd be my ideal. Like WWE had a light heavyweight championship belt, they had a European championship belt, hardcore championship, 24/7 title, which I guess was just inspired by the hardcore championship, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, I mean, WWE has had their own issues with it, and then it's always like an ebb and flow. They take it away, and then they add some more, and it's kind of like a cyclical thing. With AEW, I mean, they unified some, and then they added, 3 more. So
20 belts,
yeah.
money.
Yeah, I mean,
and they're working towards the women's tag.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's like, so let me ask you guys this before we move on to the John Cena tournament, because at Full Gear, in addition to like this national championship, before they announced the national belt, there was actually new belts they already announced that were going to be crowned at Full Gear it's the women's tag team championships, right? So what do you guys think? Do you feel like having 2 new belts at Full Gear, does that diminish the women's belts?
No.
No?
No, the girls are doing a good job with their time.
Okay.
And they have plenty of women, I think,
I feel
on
like
their roster to just like allow them to have like some tag teams. There's a lot of talent there amongst like, I mean, they could go across all the promotions they got. You know what I mean? There's so much talent there that they can use.
And none of them are like I don't ever get a sense of like shyness out of AEW girl, like the women's promos.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be like maybe just like the overproduction or just like the difference in experience between like that and say like a NXT or TNA.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
they've been doing their thing.
Yeah, I mean, like I think it was Sky Blue. I mean, she had a great match on Collision. Athena cut a great promo too when I was watching it this morning. I think like for me, I just wish like Ring of Honor. I don't know. Like I know Tony Khan owns Ring of Honor, but I think in my ideal world, I like sell it off or something, and then just have the roster that you have, and just like make Collision, Dynamite fully separate. Like use the belts; they could be interchangeable. But I just feel like adding that layer of Ring of Honor with like all of their belts that also show up on AEW, that just like is for me a bit too much. So in an ideal world, I just wished he'd never have Ring of Honor or scrap it or something. And then I wouldn't complain about the belts. So
yeah, I would say like having like exclusive rosters on Collision and Dynamite, and then maybe separating the belts on each show, kind of how SmackDown and Raw used to be in the early 2000s. Like just
I mean, they still are theoretically. They still have separate belts. The people that Cody Rhodes is feuding with on SmackDown is, for the most part, it's been just people who are on SmackDown. Like apparently Aleister Black is getting a title shot, maybe, or he just, they just wanted to see what would happen if he walked out and announced his hat, throwing his hat in the ring. But yeah, I think in an ideal world, if they had completely separate rosters like that, and then maybe remove Ring of Honor, like just sell it or something. I don't know. And just focus on Dynamite and Collision. I think they even had that Shockwave like discussion, but I guess that kind of fell through the cracks. So just try and perfect, Dynamite and Collision, and then go from there. We'll see what they do with the national championship when Full Gear happens, and maybe it'll make it more interesting, or maybe it'll go the way of the international and continental, and then it'll be unified into a triple crown championship. Who knows? We'll see. But we can move on to the next segment with John Cena. Speaking of more tournaments, because the Continental Classic and all that is happening. John Cena's last time is now tournament is taking place. So Before our the last podcast recording, I don't think that there was an actual tournament that was going to determine John Cena's last opponent. I think we were all thinking about it being either handpicked or they're just going to announce somebody, or someone was going to walk out into the middle of the ring and just say, "I want to face you, John Cena," and then that was it. But recently, in the past like week or two, they basically said, "Okay, for John Cena's last opponent." We're going to do a tournament to determine who gets a chance to potentially beat John Cena in his last match. WWE is using a 16-man tournament to determine Cena's final opponent. Andres, what do you think? Is this the right creative decision, or would you have rather it be like just, someone walks out and says, "I'm going to fight you"?
I'm cool with the idea of the tournament. I mean, I heard like the promo for it and like John Cena narrating it and stuff like that. And like when it was all said and done, I was a little like, like not sure. But the more I thought about it, I was like, like that's cool. It's kind of like his own way of how he kind of came up to the main show too. Just kind of like walking up like, hey, like, but this time they're earning their spot. So
right,
I'm cool with it. Yeah. I'm just more curious, like who's going to be the winner of that. So honestly, I feel like they're going to pull like a swerve and like pull like another wrestler that we're not expecting to be in there. Maybe I'm hoping for something like a shocker of it.
Kurt Angle.
Yeah. I mean, there's I don't know when we're going to publish this show, but on the upcoming SmackDown of November 14th, LA Knight is facing a mystery opponent, and everyone is automatically thinking it's going to be like Edge or Jericho. I think maybe it's like, I don't know, Gunther or Matt Cardona, someone who's already appeared on NXT recently.
Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy, right. I mean, like there are other folks that Cena's interacted with that I feel like could be interesting, and that seems a little more probable given the relationship with TNA. I mean, it could also be Nick Nemeth. I mean, he could show up and they're going to call him Dolph Ziggler. I mean, that would be interesting. But Chris, what do you think when they announced this 16-man tournament? Do you feel like the tournament is more interesting, or would you rather have been like one person? And then they just kind of like build the feud.
I mean, it definitely makes it more interesting because now you get to see this build up and these matches kind of happen, and then just seeing where it's going to be kind of taken, So it definitely makes it a little bit more interesting as it goes on, as the tournament goes on. You get to be like, oh, well, this person's out, so who's it going to be?
Yeah. I mean, in Cena's match, I mean, it's set at Saturday night's main event. It's in Washington, D.C. It's not at WrestleMania, or it's not at a Big Four pay-per-view like Survivor Series, which is coming up around the corner too. And it's not in his hometown. He's actually going to be on Raw in Boston, I think, which is also his final Raw this week too, on November the 10th. David, do you feel like it's a mistake, or do you feel like it's like a cool old school move to give a different event a historic moment versus like, giving it at a WrestleMania or, a Survivor Series?
I think it's cool. Like, Cena's been away long enough to where it's just like, it doesn't feel like out of place, you know?
You mean out of place in the sense of like, oh, this should be like a WrestleMania caliber?
Like in the sense that like think like an automatic like, oh, it should be this person, or like, oh, he just finished feuding with this person.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Leave it all to the imagination.
Yeah. Chris, I mean, like, what do you think? So, in terms of like the actual breakdown of people who are, as of this recording, in the match, you got The Miz, he's facing Jey Uso. You got Sheamus and Rusev, and Damian Priest, Shinsuke Nakamura. And I think these are all the first round matches so far. What do you think of these matchups? Do you feel like these are good? And in terms of like the matches announced, Sheamus versus Rusev, Damian Priest versus Shinsuke Nakamura, LA Knight versus Mystery Person, and Jey Uso versus The Miz. Who do you think is coming out on top in those matches?
In each one, or just overall?
Who do you think goes on to the finals or the semifinals in that?
Shinsuke, baby. It's gonna be
So?
I think it's gonna be some left field thing, like unexpected, because people probably would expect like maybe a Sheamus or somebody like that. But I mean, I think it's gonna be somebody truly that like Cena might deem as like really hardworking, underrated type of person, you know.
So you think it's going to be like a younger person versus like a veteran like Sheamus, who's also been around about, I mean, not as long as Cena, but pretty damn close.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like Sheamus versus Rusev, that's like the veterans versus veterans match. And then you also have Damian Priest versus Shinsuke Nakamura. And both, I mean, all four of those guys are, I won't say whippersnappers or up and coming talent. I mean, they've all had pretty much storied careers. Jey Uso, I mean, same thing. I mean, he recently got a big main event push, but he's also been a tag team for the better part of a decade. A decade plus, actually, because I think they kind of like 2010, maybe it's like 15. Jesus. And I mean, Gunther is like, people threw around Gunther as a possibility. I don't think they've announced him for any match yet within this, but that's been thrown around even before the tournament started, that this was going to be, you know, his final opponent. I mean,
Did he have a match with John Cena, or did I make that up? Who did he fight in Berlin?
In Berlin, Bash at Berlin?
Yeah.
You're asking if John Cena had a match with Gunther?
Yeah, didn't he? Did I make that up?
I don't think he's had a match with Gunther.
Was it Cody?
No.
Who did he fight?
I know Cody had a match with
Or was it Jey
I think-
Uso, maybe I'm thinking?
yeah, you might be thinking of that, but I don't think John Cena's had a match with Gunther. So, I mean, out of all of those, that seemed like it makes the most sense. But I mean, it could be someone out of left field, because I mean, it's there is also an NXT angle, and this is kind of pretty niche. But Brooks Jensen, he is the son of Bull Buchanan, or B2. And he's pushing a 22-year-old story that Cena screwed his father, because in 2002, when Cena was like starting the whole rapper gimmick, he had this partner in Bill Buchanan as like his tag partner, bodyguard type person. And then I think they lost against Los Guerreros, maybe. And basically, like, I guess dumped him for Road Dogg. So there's this interesting angle where maybe this young up and coming NXT guy maybe wants a shot at facing John Cena to get revenge for his father, who most people probably didn't even know or remember that John Cena had a tag team with. David, what do you think? Do you think that would be interesting?
I love it.
Would you put him in
Book
the
it,
tournament?
Paul. Book it, Paul.
Book it. See, that would be interesting. I think that'd be good. And yeah,
Especially since Road Dogg's the head writer of SmackDown.
right. I mean, he'd probably get a kick out of that shit. So there's that idea. Now, of course, we have all of these, and then there's the whole Forbidden Door idea and fantasy booking. So they've talked about in the tournament promotion that there might even be faces who don't even work here. Now, do you think it's just a carny trick to get people talking, or do you think
That'd be awesome.
or do you think there's any chance in hell like an AEW contracted person like Adam Copeland or Chris Jericho would show up?
Breach of contract.
I mean, I think it would have
is
to be an
Jericho
agreement, right?
contracted? Do we know that?
His ends in December, I think.
Allegedly. We don't
Allegedly.
know.
Well, I mean, like I think it's a rumor based on a rumor, and then now it's just kind of turned into a fact, and then people are rolling with it. But Yeah, the streets are saying that his contract ends in December. Jericho's. And Jericho has shown pictures of him working out, losing a lot of weight. And then some people are like, oh, it's because he's doing a WWE return. And it's possible, but maybe it's at the Rumble and not a John Cena, match. But Chris, what do you think?
Judas starts playing.
I know it wouldn't be Judas. It'd be
Din, din, din,
break the
din,
walls
din,
down.
din. Nah.
Judas.
It'd be Judas.
It'd be Judas?
It's his music. He can play wherever the hell he wants. Get a
But I think he
WWE
wants
crowd
that.
to sing that shit.
I think he wants that pop, though. I mean, I guess
That would be a
Judas. But do you feel like do you feel like only the sickos would know that that's Jericho's theme song? Or do you feel like the WWE has like a giant audience, like 18,000 in the arena, would they know
They'd
that,
figure
oh,
it
it's
out.
Jericho? Yeah. So
I prefer the count.
I think enough. Nah, dude, it should be Judas. Judas is a gold record. Judas is a gold record. That's a feat. That's a feat to celebrate if you're gonna bring somebody back.
You can't really
That's true.
sing his like original WWE theme song like his Judas is the gimmick of like singing the lyrics to that song. You know what I mean? Just like Cody.
Kind of started it here, yeah.
that's true. But like the thing with Cody's is that Cody Rhodes, like that theme song, like when he solidified his main event status and he created this company, that theme song was attached to him. The difference between that and Jericho's Break the Walls Down, like that is when he became super popular, and that's what he's like known for as a legend with that theme song. So that's where I feel like there's a difference. Cody Rhodes' theme song, that's iconic because that's how he became that main eventer. And Jericho is, I feel like his 25 plus career in WWE is known with that theme song. So that's why I feel like they'd probably just have him play that. And honestly, Triple H probably would be petty and be like, "No, you're not doing Judas in WWE. We have a theme song you've already used that you're known for in the Fed." So
Judas.
that would be fun. That would be fun.
It was,
Yeah.
Judas was an NXT takeover for like its official theme song.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah, he did have like there were a couple of Judas. There were a couple of Fozzy songs that were WWE pay-per-views. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure Jericho is like enough of a veteran where he has say in WWE creatively and in AEW. So yeah, so I guess that's where my like thinking is like, oh, maybe he has good graces enough with Tony Khan where they would basically be like, okay, fine, you have like a week or two left, but I'll just let you leave early because I appreciate you and what you've done for AEW and the business. So I could see that. I don't know of anyone else who would have that leeway. I don't even think Adam Copeland would because he just joined like what, a year and a half, 2 years ago at this point. So
I mean, he breached his contract to get there.
Edge or Jericho?
Well, it was Edge at the time. He was already talking. He was talking to Tony already before he was officially gone.
Painmaker, Cena.
I feel like Adam Copeland is less likely than I feel like Jericho.
I think
if we had to go crazy.
I mean, Copeland would make the most sense. I think. As far
that's
as
like one of probably his biggest
Cena
rivalry.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks if we don't see it. And I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't think Tony Khan would ever allow that. So I mean, like TNA, AAA, like wrestlers, that's more likely because they have active partnerships with WWE. So like a Jeff Hardy, a Matt Cardona, a Nick Nemeth, I think like people who don't even work for WWE, I think that's the most likely scenario. So I think that's probably where they're going to go. So before we move on to our last segment, I do want to ask everybody the big question about this, and I'll do round robin style. I want to ask you, who do you actually think should face John Cena in that match, and then who should win that match? Chris.
Who should face him? I think it should be some young talent. I don't know. I don't know a name like, oh, this young person deserves it, but I think it should be somebody who's an up and comer who has a big future, because that would give them the biggest kind of push. Would make more sense for that person to have a win over Cena. Um, assuming that it would be a win for the other person, not John Cena winning on top. But I feel like John Cena, knowing John Cena and his character, I think he would put somebody over, and it would be some young person. So unnamed young person probably winning. That's my bet. What was your second question?
I mean, who would win that match? You would say that person would win, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
David, what about you? Who do you think is gonna actually face him, and who's winning?
LA Knight.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would make sense. All right, finally, just give him something.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a young whippersnapper, but he definitely. I feel like. I mean, they haven't given him a big, or he's had the United States Championship, but like he hasn't won a world title, and I feel like maybe this could give him another push to get in that.
He's gonna get. He's still got a good amount of time in him, like in terms of like match quality and stuff. Like he's not gonna fall off anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's got a decade in him. I mean, if he really just stays the course, So you think it's LA Knight, and you think he's beating John Cena?
Yep.
Nice. All right, Andres, who do you got? Who's actually facing him, and who's winning?
Kind of like with Chris on that, like someone more in the up and coming, but maybe like someone who's kind of established, but they can definitely use a victory like that. I'd probably say someone like Gunther would be a good point, because he's been gone for a little bit, right? So him would be good. But like the fan in me would really like to see it maybe be, even though I think they fought already, in Randy Orton. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, he's like the only guy that's still in the company that can probably, it's still like on the same timeline as him, and who kind of came in around the same time as him, and just as like a poetic, like final, opponent, whatever.
I mean, some people were thinking like, oh, John Cena can face CM Punk for like his belt as like the last match, and then just have him win the championship one last time. I think that's less likely. I mean, that'd be great for them to do a match and, a last match in somewhere besides Saudi Arabia. But I don't think that's likely. I think I would I think Dominic Mysterio would be great if he like beat John Cena. Just have him keep doing that streak of just like Intercontinental Championship, AAA Mega Championship, beats his father at Survivor Series, which is probably going to happen, and then also beat John Cena, and then just have him keep racking up those wins. I think I love to see that, and then have him turn face at WrestleMania. They hug it out, like Ray and him hugs it out, and he has a generational babyface run. So that'd be my ideal. Give Dom the win.
His light cheat and steal is already a pop. It's not a boo anymore.
Yeah, I mean, like you're like that promo he did with his father. Like anytime they feud with each other, I mean, it's just gold. Like they've only done it a handful of times, but like when he said to take his father's name out of his mouth when he was talking about Eddie Guerrero, I mean, just beautiful long-term storytelling. So we'll see. I'm excited for it. It's taking place on December 13th at Saturday night's main event in Washington, D.C. And we'll see who wins. Maybe John Cena gets screwed. Speaking of getting screwed, this is how I do a transition. This week is the 28th anniversary of the Montreal Screwjob. And it is, I think, one of the most, if not the most talked about wrestling event, historical event, whatever you want to call it, in pro wrestling history. It's been, analyzed 100 different ways, and tonight we're doing it for the 101st time. And I think I just want to talk about what the Montreal Screwjob was. And I think for some folks assume like everybody knows it, but there's a new generation of people who are in their 20s or teens that probably haven't really read up on it or they heard of it a little bit. So this is for you folks. This is for the younger people who maybe aren't as into the history of wrestling as us unks are.
Damn,
So-
No, we're not there yet.
What are we? OG? Not OGs.
We're still big bro, man.
Oh, we're still big bro. Well,
We got
the
time.
big bro. What's below big bro?
I think the kids say YN.
All right. Well, I'm not saying that. So the youngins. I'm gonna say the youngins. So for all you youngins out there, Big Bro is going to tell you a little bit about the Montreal Screwjob. So let's set the stage for the Montreal Screwjob. So it took place at Survivor Series on November 9th, 1997. And basically, this was Bret Hart's last match before he went to WCW. So this is the period where the WWF was experiencing some financial hardship because their ass was getting kicked by WCW for the past year and some change. And Bret Hart was... basically, he had a contractual disputes with WCW. Initially, he wanted to stay in WWF, and he was basically telling Vince, listen, I got this offer from Eric Bischoff for this amount of money. Is there anything you can do to, make it better, because he didn't want to leave. And in the first contract dispute, so there were two separate contract disputes. So the first time when Eric Bischoff reached out to Bret Hart, he offered him, it was like $2.9 million for 3 years. And basically Bret was able to work for like a third of the dates that he was working in WWF at the time, which is basically almost all year versus like half of that if he went to WCW. Vince McMahon offered Bret Hart a contract that basically gave him 20 years, and he would be paid like $1.5 or $1.6 million for the first handful of years. And then as the years went on, it would be a little less, but when he's in his 50s or 60s, he'd basically be getting still some kind of payout and support because of his allegiance to WWF. In 1997, after it wasn't even that long after they signed that contract, Vince was basically telling Bret that he didn't have the money or the financial stability to give him that contract. So he basically had to breach that contract and told him to go to WCW and basically get a better deal. And Bret didn't want to leave. He was trying to, find a way to stay, but Vince was basically kind of like hemming and hawing and basically trying to show him the door and be nice about it. And Bret eventually faxed his contract over and was going to WCW. So that's kind of the groundwork for what happened. And then in terms of like why the screw job happened, so before the Screwjob incident, there was another incident with Alundra Blaze, who became Medusa in WCW, and she was let go from the WWF, and she had the women's championship belt, and she showed up at WCW with the women's WWF championship belt, and then on camera took the belt and then dropped it in the trash. And that was basically a really big deal because you took someone else's intellectual property and you dumped it on the rival company's TV episode. So
Live.
Yes, live. And that's the other thing, is that WCW was live and WWE was also was pre-taped for a good portion of it, or they were also starting a little later than WCW. So there was a lot of upper hand. There was a lot of creative upper-handedness, for lack of a better word, that Eric Bischoff had that Vince didn't have, and Vince didn't want to have a repeat of that situation. Now, in Brett's contract, he did have reasonable creative control for his final 30 days, and Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels have had issues with each other for a long time, and he didn't want to lose to Shawn Michaels in Canada. He said he could drop the belt the next day. They were initially going to do this whole schmaz where the Hart Foundation, DX, were going to come out. It's going to turn into a disqualification, and that means Shawn Michaels probably won, but Bret still holds the belt because in wrestling rules, you don't win the belt in a DQ. So that was the initial plan. And then he would forfeit the title the next night on Raw. So that didn't happen. At Survivor Series, basically, Shawn Michaels flipped him into a sharpshooter. Earl Hebner was waving his hands to make it look like he was asking Bret, "Are you going to tap?" And then he flipped around, said, "Ring the bell," or he was doing this, and then Vince said, "Ring the bell, ring the fucking bell." And then they rang the bell. Shawn was pretending like he didn't know what was going on. He was sitting in the ring looking confused. And Bret Hart, they call him the Hitman for a reason, hawked a loogie and spit it directly in Vince's forehead. Perfect bullseye. Yeah. And then started trashing the place. The Canadian crowd was upset. He went to the back. He was upset. He was in the shower. He was changing. Vince came in. He basically gave him one free shot. Bret Hart uppercutted him, knocked him out, gave him a black eye, apparently. And yeah, what else is there to say? He goes to WCW without the belt, of course, I think a month later. And Shawn Michaels initially said he didn't know what was happening, and he was actually fully involved along with Triple H, Briscoe. I think they said Pat Patterson wasn't, but it sounded like he maybe was. And then Jim Cornette was actually the one who gave the idea to Vince to screw Bret Hart. He was like, "Well, I mean, like, it's your property. You should just, do the damn thing and then just do it like it's your property." And that's what Jim Cornette basically said. So let me guys ask you this. So Vince famously said that Bret screwed Bret. Now, Andres, what do you think? Do you feel like we've already listened to this, or we've read books, podcast conversations. Now, 28 years later, has your opinion changed on what Vince said when he said Bret screwed Bret? Do you feel like there's any truth to that?
It's hard to say. It's such a weird spot because it could have been avoided too. Even now, like as a full grown adult, I've heard this story, and I'm sure we all have heard thousands of times. Like you said, and it's been so long. Yeah, in a way, I say yeah. Not to be like on the bad side of it, but at the same time too, like he dealing with Mr. McMahon and just not, I don't know. I do think he got screwed, but I do think in a way too he did kind of screw himself, because the contract was up that day too, right? It wasn't like he can just come back on Raw, right? Because wasn't his contract officially up that match?
I think he still had some time. I think he was actually contracted through the beginning of December, something like that. So they were trying to so the issue was when it came to that specific incident. So legally, I don't think there was any possibility for Bret Hart to take the belt to WCW because basically when it happened initially with Medusa, they were already tied up in court about that whole thing. So I don't think Eric Bischoff or WCW as a company would want to relitigate something that they were, I think, still actively in court for. So I don't think there was any possibility for him to take the belt. But the issue was for Vince and for the WWF, what Eric Bischoff could do is if Bret Hart still retained the championship at Survivor Series, and then WCW Monday Night Nitro, which was taking place the next day, and they're also starting an hour before Monday Night Raw. Bischoff, and who already said that there was going to be a major announcement, Tony Khan style, like, oh hey, I have a major announcement. I just bought the WWF champion, and he's coming to WCW. Like, he could do that. So Vince McMahon didn't want that to happen. He doesn't want like his champion basically like, I just had him win. He just defended it. He won the belt. He's shown up on Raw an hour before our show starts. The competitor says that we just bought your champion, and then Brett has to come out with his belt and basically like, yeah, I'm leaving. I got the belt, but I'm leaving. Like then you have to like, so to your point, and maybe it's controversial, maybe it's not, but I could see Vince's perspective if we use that logic. So, some people would say, what's that?
Okay. I heard Brett was like, oh, I wanted to win, but then surrender the belt the next night. Like, I would just, okay, I'll just give it up at the next night. But why wouldn't they do that though? Oh, because they would have been announced anyways ahead of time, I guess, right?
Yeah. I think that's what it was. Is like the fact that,
to me logically that would have been fine, but yeah, WCW is going to make a big stink of it and be like, WCW, I'm sorry.
Because like I also agree with you with that too, but I didn't consider that possibility until recently.
I think about part.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm more like the guy that if the boss tells you, hey, like, just can't do it, just do your job, kind of thing. I get Bret Hart just wasn't. I know of all places he doesn't want to lose in Canada too, so I get that, especially the Shawn, especially the Shawn at that time. That's like the worst thing to happen, I don't know.
Want to lose.
Yeah,
so, I don't
know. Shawn Michaels wasn't. I mean, like to his point, and Shawn would agree. He was a dick then, and Bret Hart allegedly was telling him, I'm fine dropping the belt to you, and then Shawn Michaels, like a week or two before the Survivor Series, he's like, well, I wouldn't do the same for you. Yep. So I mean, I'd be kind of pissed off too, but like, I don't know. Like it kind of sucks. Like being in Bret Hart's shoes, like I understand him too, because you basically gave 15, 20 years of your career to the WWF at that point. And then you have to leave on like such, like you feel like your boss doesn't want you there anymore, even though you were giving him like opportunities to, it doesn't even have to be the same amount of money. You can give me some creative, creative opportunities, right? And he wasn't really up for that either. So it sucks. Like I could see Brett's perspective on why, but I kind of understand why Vince did what he did. And this isn't of course the first time that like wrestling or pro wrestling has done some kind of ending like that. They did it with Wendy Richter too in the 80s. I don't know if that was the first screw job, but it was not too far from 1997 where Moolah showed up and rolled up Wendy Richter, and that was also like a quote unquote screw job because that wasn't supposed to happen. They took the belt off her unceremoniously too. Well, Chris, what do you think? We've been talking and ruminating about this. Do you have similar thoughts, or do you have a different take?
I mean, I feel like they could have worked out a finish where, like how he mentioned, he would drop it the next night or whatever on Raw. I don't think that would have been too much of an issue. It was a win in Canada, because Canada, what do they even have? Free healthcare.
Yeah. They got Bret Hart, and they got hockey. They got Trish Stratus. They got Edge.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they could have. Yeah,
you got Drake.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think that was more helpful before.
I already saw Predator Badlands. I don't need that shit. Honestly, yeah, I feel like they could have figured something out. I think there was an opportunity there, but I mean, I think because of how high the competition was between WCW and WWF, I think Vince just didn't want to risk anything at all of there just being any kind of sort of leeway or leverage for anything. So it was probably something out of desperation. So to your point, I could see why Vince McMahon would do it, but in hindsight, I think there could have been, another way.
David, you said we made that funny comment about I trust Earl. So what do you think about Earl Hebner? So he swore his kids' lives to Brett that he'd call the match fairly. Do you feel like he was just a guy following orders to keep his job, or would you go further and call him a key conspirator?
So I don't think he.
It's like the JFK assassination. it's that level of gravitas.
I think he was just the guy doing his job. I think he maybe just talked too much. I mean, if you're a little guy like Earl Hebner, it's a little intimidating to have Bret Hart in your face going, "You're gonna call this down the middle, right?" Like,
yeah, exactly. I mean, you got this guy with like 24-inch pythons, to borrow, Hulk Hogan quote, but basically saying like, you're not going to screw me or whatever, right? So,
right.
I mean, there's that whole conversation, but I do feel like it was just a referee following orders. Apparently, allegedly, there's another thing that I was reading about is that Earl Hebner was also like mic'd. So basically, they were like, "Well, we have you mic'd. So if you try to tell Brett that we're about to like do this finish, we're gonna fire you immediately on the spot."
You're wearing a wire.
Right, exactly. So,
well, I heard the interview that Brett had when he came back to WWE for the first time. Like him, Sean, and JR like had a segment together. Brett actually even said that Earl did not actually know, and they only told him as soon as he was actually about to hit the ring. So he actually wasn't aware of it until like they actually grabbed him like very last second. They're like, "Hey, this is gonna be the finish. Just do it when we tell you." So technically, he didn't really like lie. Like as far as he did know, he didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, what do you do when you're like leaving and like you're reading a book to kids and then they say, like a plane has hit the second tower? Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, do you do your job? Do you just keep refereeing or what? Like literally right before the match, like they tell them like, all right, hey, by the way, we're about to fuck your friend over.
Damn, we got the zingers on this episode.
Seriously, yeah, dude, that break did us some good.
So there was also like interesting in terms of like from like a human perspective, like the boys in the back and how they reacted to what happened. So a good chunk of people were really upset with what happened. Famously, The Undertaker walked into Vince's office and told him to basically face Bret Hart like a man and basically explain to the rest of the crew like the logic behind it and all that, and that's where Brett then knocked out Vince, and to Vince's credit, he apparently just gave him a free shot because he knew that it was a shitty thing to do. Now I want to ask you guys this because this is a theory that exists and it seems kind of crazy, and I don't know how possible this is, but some people think the whole thing was a work. They think everybody, including Bret Hart, Earl Hebner, Vince McMahon, Shawn Michaels, everybody is all in on it, and it was an elaborate work.
The ultimate work.
They mentioned, the Wrestling with Shadows documentary crew being there, seeming that's too convenient. We've had people who were like Earl, I think even Earl Hebner was saying that, oh yeah, they were like folks are in on it. Sean Waltman, X-Pac, said something similar. Other wrestlers who appeared on different podcasts have Chris Kanyon, before he passed away, brought up something similar. What do you think is the possibility of it being a complete work? Like, is there any evidence that you feel like would even support something like that?
It's wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, that's the ultimate evidence, right?
It is wrestling. And here at Chi-Town Shoot, we know what's a shoot and what's a work. And that indeed is a work.
I mean, that's a possibility. I mean, it's
It's
the
a
work.
work.
It's the work that has worked people for as long as it has. It's working us right now.
It was a shoot reaction that worked itself into a work.
And why do you think that Brett would agree to something like that?
Because he didn't really lose the shot.
So do you think Vince's black eye was makeup then and all that, or do you?
No,
think,
he got popped. He got popped.
We're like, all right, for this to actually work, I want you to sock me in the
We
face.
selling this shit real good.
Give me a good
Uppercut me
one.
in no underwear.
Hey, lifted him out of his shoes like he uppercutted his ass like Mortal Kombat 3.
To the second floor.
So okay, so it's wrestling. I mean,
Concrete.
yes, it could, and all of it can potentially be a work, and some people can take it to their graves, and that is a possibility. And
It's ultimate work, man.
but like, let's think about this. Even like after WCW, well, I mean, I guess Bret Hart had a concussion in 2000, so even if he wanted to go back to WWE, he
He would have
wouldn't
came
be
back
able
to a land of no Sean,
right.
and he would have got to say he got screwed and been able to move on.
Yeah. And of course, like, it didn't end there. Like, there is a happy-ish ending. So they did, after, WCW got sold. I mean, Bret Hart had his concussion. He had a stroke. Vince reached out to him when he was in the hospital. And then around 2005, they rekindled their relationship and had that DVD project. Initially, it was called Screwed, the Bret Hart Story, and then they changed it to Bret Hart, Best There Is, Best There Ever Will Be. And around that time, he was also inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, actually at WrestleMania 22 in Chicago. He did a speech at the Rosemont Theater. But so, I mean, I guess maybe it was just still at work, because he also said he didn't want to see Shawn Michaels at his speech. So he said, if he's there, I'm not going to do it. So maybe he's just really living the gimmick. He was
in the back watching on the monitor, eating
shedding
popcorn.
a tear. He's like, that's
Like
my boy.
Bret Hart.
Uh,
Watching that shit.
Looking at the
Like,
TV.
He's just like playing his Game Boy, and like.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it could just be living the gimmick.
Living.
So yeah, and then he, of course, came back in 2010 and on screen forgave Shawn Michaels, and that was one of their highest rated Raws in a while, saying that Bret Hart back on Monday Night Raw in 20 years or whatever it was at that point.
Please don't watch TNA. That's what they were saying.
Right, yeah, because they were also trying to go head to head. So Chris, let me ask you this: what if the screw job never happened? If Bret dropped the title on Raw, left on good terms, what do you think changes in wrestling history? What's the butterfly effect?
I mean, who knows? Maybe WCW goes out on top, like takes out WWF. Maybe the Attitude Era never happens, right? I mean, all those are possibility, because some people say that was kind of the spark for the Attitude Era to kind of do its thing. So, that's a possibility.
Yeah. David, what do you think? What if? What do you think would happen if the screw job never took place?
It changes everything. Doesn't create a Vince McMahon character, like a Mr. McMahon character.
Do you think the Attitude Era happens?
I think it happens, but it doesn't have its driving force with its lead bad guy being Vince.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I feel like that was probably the catalyst for that, right? I mean, there are seeds of an Attitude Era already that was happening. Like, I mean, Brett was leaning into this whiny thing, and DX was happening. Steve Austin was happening. It happened after WrestleMania 13. Steve Austin was doing his thing. Now, would like the Vince McMahon character become a thing? I mean, maybe. I think that's a possibility. I mean,
But it
maybe
would
Bret
improve
Hart,
so much when he
you
got
know?
for the first time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where Bret Hart would fit into that because I feel like he wasn't comfortable with like the Attitude Era stuff, like that, like he was like that kind of like family wrestler and like, girls in gravy bowl matches and, Sable with like handprints on her boobs probably wouldn't be something he'd want to do. Right.
Right.
So
Insane
like,
clown posse's there, like
right. I mean, like the whole thing. Val Venus, all that stuff. Like Bret Hart would be a big fish out of water, like even like Owen Hart, like when he was still there in like 98, 99. I mean, I felt like it was kind of similar for him too. Like he had the whole, like, was it like proceed with caution? Speaking of like Naomi, he had like the whole like caution stuff. But yeah, I feel like the Vince McMahon character probably wouldn't happen if the screw job didn't take place. And I guess I want to turn it quickly before we wrap up to like WCW's failure with Bret Hart. So, WCW got Bret, signed him. He showed up, I think, December of 97. And a lot of people consider it to be, fumbling, the hottest free agent in history at that point. Andres, what do you think? How badly do you feel like they misused Bret Hart, and why do you feel like they weren't able to capitalize on that momentum from the screw job?
I'm not sure. Like he definitely like didn't fit the mold of like what was going on there. I feel I mean not or that they didn't know how to like put him in there because I know like he did win the title, right? Eventually,
He won the title, I think, twice. They gave him the belt. Yeah.
twice. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Just with the caliber of the other wrestlers there, I don't know. He just when he came in, I don't know. I didn't think he was well written down to the story and stuff like that. Because honestly, I didn't really watch that era too much of WCW because that's when like WWE was like hot,
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I would look back at WCW, he was like in the NWO too at one point. I'm like, what is this? Like, this is just terrible, Like
He was in the Wolf Pack, right? I think he was in the Wolf Pack.
no, the NWO 2000 and
yeah, like the
later.
silver and black or whatever. It was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because back then you had to add 2000 to everything.
Yep. 2000.
2000.
Yeah. I don't know how they just fumbled that, but at the same time too, like with the main guys they had there too, he just I don't know, they were more focused on the NWO and Goldberg and stuff and Sting too and just I don't know.
Yeah,
it was hard.
Retiring Bret early, they were focused on that.
Yeah, that also fucked everything from.
I mean that would be interesting if he wasn't concussed. What would happen to Bret Hart? Like if he was still, he probably still had like another 10 years in him potentially, and then WWF buys out WCW. He's not going back to Vince. At least I don't think so.
I think he would have.
You think so?
Yeah,
I feel like he would have been too heated. I don't know, but Vince. I think Vince was making like
TNA.
money hand over fist, and I feel like honestly, like they probably could have redone like the screw job. Like that would be interesting television to have Bret back on TV with Vince and Shawn Michaels coming back in 2002. I mean, I think that would have been money, but I mean that didn't happen, of course. And to answer that question for like WCW's failure, I feel like it was just like it wasn't just like fumbling Bret Hart, but it was a series of mistakes that they were making during those 2-3 years anyway.
Yeah.
And you had like Vince Russo, where like they thought Vince Russo, because the WWF was so successful, like he was the golden goose. And therefore, if we just bring in this guy, he's going to give us gold. And clearly, that was not the case when he showed up there. And yeah, I mean, like it was like we saw WCW's creative directions for other characters and people, Hulk Hogan, the Stings, Goldbergs, the Jerichos, all those people who were already around like that same time, the Malenkos, the Guerreros. They're already experiencing bad booking or odd booking decisions, and Bret Hart was just part of that greater booking fiasco. I think that's why they fumbled it, because they were fucking up everything else, and he was just part of that bad booking tsunami. So yeah, so I think that's what happened. But I mean, it worked out in the end. Bret Hart got his Hall of Fame. He got some forgiveness from Shawn Michaels and Vince. He even got a United States Championship match in 2010, I think, for a couple of months. The Hart Foundation, the new Hart Foundation, he was a manager, and he was supporting Natalia, Tyson Kidd, and all the other Hart folks. And he popped up recently to get insulted by Gunther. I think he was saying that Goldberg was better, or his favorite wrestler was Goldberg. So, and Bret Hart still, complains about Goldberg to this day. Some say you can even hear him say Bill Goldberg if you listen closely at night. But yeah, I think that it's an event that people will always talk about. I feel like new generations of people, all the youngins, like I mentioned, will be interested in just like the business side, as I feel like we were, and that was kind of like what makes the wrestling business so intriguing, is the blurring the lines between reality and not reality. And that's what keeps me coming back. But I think that's a wrap for this episode of the Chi-Town Shoot Wrestling Podcast. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, rate us, leave your feedback, ring the bell as well. Tune in next time for more Wrestling Madness. Until then, keep marking out.